Welcome back, one and all, to today's podcast. This introduction is temporarily brought to you by the letter C, as in piracy. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Podcast the Motion Picture. After what, a 2-month hiatus or so, or yeah, about 2-month hiatus. We are back. It's Reed LaRock, Jack Brainerd, Cole Brainerd, Noah Lane, Zach Gangan. I had to read off your guys' names because I forgot who you were. Thank goodness those are up there. I think it's changed his name on this recording already. Yeah, well, anyway, welcome back. This podcast, Motion Picture, we talk about movies. We ourselves used to work on some movies. We got some things in the barrel, hopefully looking to get shot off next summer, seeing what happens. Got a lot of time to go working on this and that. But in the meantime, we're talking about movies. So, uh, we just watched a movie this week. And now, listen, we've done 2 seasons of podcasting, and season 3, we're just starting in now. Um, we're trying to focus on like one particular movie per week. Maybe if we get crazy, we can even do like one season of a show if we have something that's so this or that. Anyway, fact of the matter is, we're going to focus on one particular topic. Otherwise, we're all over the map, and it's not quite as easy for people to follow whatever the heck the episode's about when we talk about Indiana Jones, a, a, a pornographic film, Lenny Riefenstahl's Triumph of the Will. You know, we get a little scatterbrained, and we're going to fix that. So this week, we're talking about one film in particular, and I'll tell you what it is. It's Treasure Planet is the focus.
Arg, treasure.
Oh, I watched the wrong pirate movie then.
Yeah, what'd you watch?
Spaghetti's Revenge 2.
It's Pirates too.
Pirates 2, yeah.
But before we hit that though, I feel like we do have to just check in with everybody. How's everybody doing? Cole, how are you doing up there?
Doing all right, doing all right. Work's going all right, you know.
Good.
The
Good.
yep, life's
not
going well.
you're not snapping any necks in that old high school of yours, are you?
No. It's going well.
Good. They fire people for doing that.
Yeah, they do.
I've heard tale. And Noah, are you alive and well?
I don't know why you gotta ask me about how I'm doing. I just want to write my music.
God, this guy's genius. This guy's a genius. Engen?
We're doing good as long as the snow's falling.
Oh, do you have snow over there?
Oh yeah,
It's
that's
a
snow. I mean, not in the city, but
This is a
up in the
barren
mountains.
place here in Rochester. Not even an inch of white besides the people. And master's graduate Jackson Brainerd, how are you?
I wish I had a job.
Where are the
Well, all right. Well, we're all caught up. Hey, somebody asked me how I'm doing. All right, everybody asked me where I am, but nobody asked me how I am.
how you doing?
I'm actually in Rochester, Minnesota. Thanks for asking. Okay, so Treasure Planet is a little film from 2002. Uh, it's something of a film about what's that gentleman's name that wrote Treasure Island? Ray Steven Orbison or something like that.
Robert Louis something?
Right,
Robert
yeah.
Louis Stevenson?
Stevenson.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
we got there.
Thanks. Because I always mistake the name with Eddie Vedder's real name, which is Edward Louis Severson. So, anyway, they're not related in any
Wait,
way.
what is
wait.
his real name?
Edward
Used to
Louis
be-
Severson.
Wait, the
Edward
original
Louis.
writer?
No, Eddie Vedder's name is Edward
Oh,
Louis.
Eddie
who's
Vedder
the,
wrote
what's the
Treasure
original
Island.
writer's name?
Robert Louis Stevenson.
Robert
Yeah,
Louis
okay.
Stevenson. So yeah, anyway, this is a movie, 2002, Treasure Planet. Let me break down I don't know what you call it, a synopsis, a really basic one without getting into the ending and all. Essentially, this gentleman, they all share the same names from the original novella, if you will. You got Jim Hawkins, this young kid who stumbles his life into this treasure story. This old bag of bones, Billy Bones himself, comes crashing in, outer space wise, comes crashing in to the inn where Jim and his mother live and work, and he tells him about the old treasure of Captain Flint, and uh, and so then they're going to go on this big quest to go get it. They come across this gentleman by the name of John Silver, the cook on this big ship sailing excursion, trying to go out and look for this lost treasure. Turns out John Silver is one of the old pirate crew of Captain Flint himself. Used to sail the old Jolly Roger flag with Billy Bones as well. And essentially, what happens is along the way, this journey to find the lost treasure at Captain Flint, um, things go a little bit awry. Jim becomes something of a pirate himself along the way, and he learns a lot about himself. So anyway, what'd you guys think of this movie, Treasure Planet?
Do you guys want to start out by saying like when you first watched it and what those experiences were like?
Yeah, somebody else
Good, yeah.
go first before me because I feel like the audience is just getting 90% me, and I don't want to force them into that. Hop
Uh,
in.
I had never seen it before. I really knew nothing about it, and I've never read Treasure Island either. So all
I
all pretty new to me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. So I would have loved to watch this as a kid growing up. I mean,
Yeah.
it was super awesome. I mean, it would have fit in right with what I like, a
Yeah.
mature Disney movie with mature, good comedy in it.
Megan was
So
mature.
It feels like a
I
movie
was
that's
forced.
been like lost to time. Like I no one brings up this movie ever, as far as I'm aware.
I
So
don't think I've ever heard of it before
really, me
this
neither.
week.
Yeah, yeah. Other than I think Jack's brought it up in the past, but
I
Well, this
stand
is
this movie. I stand by this movie. Also, and again, that was a nice divorce joke right there. That went over a lot of other people's heads.
Uh, Divorce party.
Yeah.
Cool.
well, yeah. Well, Jack, we both have a pretty unique relationship to the movie and like the original story, right? I mean, it's not like we were um strangers to it. Like we watched this movie as kids, right? I'm pretty sure we had this on VHS somewhere. We would watch it.
Yeah.
And dad would always read, like we know parents read before bedtime. My dad would always read Treasure Island. So he would always read that as a bedtime story. It was one of many stories he'd read. So I just kind of had always had like this passing familiarity with it and this connection, but I hadn't seen it since I was a kid, So it was a really cool experience to kind of revisit it. And I was really, really excited. And that's going to kind of come into my review here when we all break off and talk about the movie. But Jack, what do you want to say? Do you have any feelings?
Oh no, I think this movie's great. And
And
Disney purposely killed this movie by releasing it at the same time Harry Potter was coming out. And they knew it was the same weekend. They're like,
Is that what it was, huh?
yeah, because they wanted to kill 2D animation and they wanted to make Pixar. So they're like, we're gonna kill it with this box office bomb. It's gonna suck. No one's gonna go see it because they're gonna see Harry Potter.
do you
And
guys
that's what happened.
know the history of why 2D animation films has kind of just dropped off and died?
I
I can
think
tell you
it's
why.
because they don't think they make money. I think it's
I can
all
tell you
like
why. I can tell you why Disney's did
Yeah. Well, why did Disney's? Because of
because
that?
they cost too much money in comparison to what they
Yeah,
brought in.
they
But it
do.
was like, but not like. But when I say too much money, is I mean they cost $200 million to make and made $900 million compared to spending $50 million and making $1 billion.
Yeah.
Because
Back,
Tarzan was like expensive as shit to make because of all
mhm.
like the special effects and stuff.
Back in the day, and the reason why it costs so much to do what is two-dimensional animation compared to three-dimensional animation comes from worker payments and unions having had formed. And once 3D animation, I read this online at one point, once 3D animation had come about, it was like this Wild West area, and all these big businesses had so much money at the time, they were like, what if we just hijack this whole thing and don't allow for proper unions to be formed for as long as possible. So then because of that, they're like, well, we're not going to work in 2D animation anymore because you got to pay those people for real. Like you have to actually give them hours and weekends. We do 3D animations, we can just work them to death. Yeah,
So
it's real,
what
real
was the
story.
first 3D animation?
Well,
Jeez.
the first big one was Bug's Life.
Hmm.
Toy
I
Story.
think. Was
Toy
it
Story,
Bug's
Jack.
Life?
This is first Toy
Toy
Story.
Story. Toy Story was the first feature-length 3D animated film. Or
No, I thought it was Ants. I'm not
no,
even
dude.
kidding. I'm
Ants
pretty
came out
sure it
like
was
to the
Ants.
2000s. Dude,
Ants.
Okay.
Toy Story
The-
came out in like 1994. It's that old.
Yeah.
I don't mean to throw away, the old topic here, but back to Treasure Planet. We're gonna go down the. You guys
So-
say I have ADHD.
So this reminded me of Lilo and Stitch. So I was watching Lilo and Stitch when this came out. That was 2002 as well, that movie.
Hmm.
Same, similar animation style, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I reminded me of watching this last night.
Hmm. Um. Yeah. I don't really know. What did you guys have a favorite character in watching this movie?
I think maybe my favorite thing about the movie is the dynamic between Jim and
John
the
Silver.
pirate guy, Silver. I
Yeah.
think that kind of elevates the movie a lot, and so I guess Silver. Um, yeah, it's just I didn't know what to expect at all, and I'm not familiar with this era of Disney. Like I've never seen Lilo and Stitch, and there's I think Atlantis came out around this time. I've
Okay,
never seen
Atlantis is
that.
another banger.
Hmm.
So like I really didn't know like what to expect. And I was impressed by like the character work in general. Like not just Jim and Silver, but I thought the doctor was funny and I thought Amelia the captain was cool and I was pretty impressed by the character work and I thought it was better than a lot of Disney movies that have come out recently. So yeah, I was a fan of the characters in this movie just in general.
Yeah.
I've always loved pirate stuff. I just have always probably because Pirates of the Caribbean growing up. But I to help prep for this, I started reading the Treasure Island book just so I could actually know like what's it like compared to some of these things. I'm not super far into it. I'm just getting going. But anyway, the difference is of course when you make an hour and 30-minute long movie compared to 300-page book from 100 years ago, gets a little bit different. But anyway, I want to say the way they adapted the characters into this movie gives them so much of their own life. Like you said with John Silver and Jim, there's such a connection. It feels very rich, and yet the way that Jim Hawkins is in the book, it's an old book, so he's a kid from then, so he's very polite and proper and quiet. And then in this one, it's 2002 is when the Jim Hawkins character is written for. So he's a punk kid who thinks he can do whatever he wants, and it's like, no matter even if I break the rules, it's okay, mom. Like it's fine, it's not a problem, mom. So you still get this new version, and I like it. There's a wealth of feelings to it.
It's a great modernization
Yeah.
of the story. And I think
He's got a
we're
ponytail and he skateboards.
and they
Mhm.
play
know.
like 90s, early 2000s rock music. Noah,
Oh
No,
yeah,
no,
you heard
no,
those guitar riffs.
no. They don't play it. The head singer of fucking I'm gonna
Amy
have a stroke.
Max.
I'm having a stroke. Goo Goo Dolls literally wrote the songs for it. So no, you take that back. You take that back. No
What?
I
ordinary
was waiting. I
rock
knew you'd be
band.
the first
I didn't
person to
say
bring it up,
ordinary.
dude. I
The
knew you'd be
fucking
the first
Goo Goo
person to bring up Goo
Dolls.
Goo Dolls.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the music is spot on. Like it's breathes its own bit of life into this cool punk rock fucking journey into outer space. Um
I thought of Noah immediately when the first like song came on, and then like the end credit one came on. I'm like, oh my God, this is so sick.
Yeah, it's very like yeah, that's an easy way to make your movie better is to do that for
To
sure.
have get the Goo Goo Dolls to write an original song
Yeah.
too. Two
Yeah.
original songs, not just one.
Yep.
It just works.
it just works.
Oh, to get back to the Jim and Silver connection. So is it implied that that is his real father, or is it
No,
just is it
no,
just
no. He's just a father figure,
okay?
and
So the part,
that's even super loose itself because it's more so like a mentorship figure.
yeah.
He's a
So the
father,
part
dude.
there must
Yeah.
have been a dream sequence where he like saw him leaving the
his
Mhm.
his
inn,
dad's
and
leaving.
That's his actual dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
Yep.
it looked like it could have been Silver, and
No.
like
Uh-uh.
I'm just I knew it was well, probably wasn't real. I'm just saying it just
Yeah.
made you think that way. That
Yeah.
like, hey,
Hmm.
like it just reinforced that, mentorship, father figure type thing. And that
Got it.
whole father-son montage when he's teaching him, the ropes of the ship. That
Yep.
was
As
Yeah.
the
Yep.
Goo Goo
But
Dolls play in
that's
the
the Goo Goo
Yeah, the
background.
Goo Goo
Dolls, dude.
Dolls. It's
that
the
was
Goo
I
Goo
mean, that
Dolls.
was probably one of the
Good
best
stuff.
parts of the whole film.
Yep.
The best
Something that
scene in the film, I think.
yeah, following that, I got two things. I got a quote I got to drop on you because I loved it. Watching the movie, I watched it two mornings ago. I couldn't sleep, so I woke up at about like 3:30 in the morning and I watched it, and that was my morning. Before work, it was the best fucking day I've had in a long time. Anyway, but there's a scene that's just it got me going. It was great. But what follows after that montage and Jim catches on that Silver's no good. He's trouble. He's a pirate at heart. Um, the crew keeps trying to go after Jim, and Silver has gone soft. He is trying to let Jim get away on some things, and he's not, and like part of it is that Jim has the map, so he can't actually kill Jim. Can't do that. So he's got evidence that it's okay, but that Silver just keeps failing to be the pirate because he has to keep looking after Jim, even after Jim does not want anything to do with Silver, is another bit of that kind of father-son relationship. I think those two have this like mentor relationship where it's like even still like he just won't give up on this task of mentoring Jim. It's wonderful. But I've got a quote from the movie that he says that I thought it was. Now you listen to me, James Hawkins. You got the makings of greatness in you, but you got to take the helm and chart your own course. Stick to it, no matter the squalls. And when the time comes, you get the chance to really test the cut of your sails and show 'em what you're made of. Well, I hope I'm there, catching some of the light coming off you that day. Fuck
That
it.
sounds like a line straight from Paddleboat Pirates, honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. That and I
yeah.
think as he's saying it, there's light on John Silver's face, and he just has this,
He's looking up at him, literally.
yeah, that way. It's that Master Yoda level of just wanting to have somebody follow you, and what comes after you is better than you could have ever been. It's just
Well,
such a beautiful thing.
it's so cool because that's exactly what Jim wants too. So like you could see his eyes lighting up. Finally, someone gets me and wants me to do exactly what I want to do.
Mhm. Yeah, I
I
love
mean,
it.
just the whole general uh space pirates theme is also
Yeah,
pretty dang
it's
awesome.
very sweet.
I mean, when they're first taking off from the ship and they're, taking the solar sails,
Yeah, I
taking off
love.
like that, and then getting the anti-gravity
Yeah.
system
It,
on board. I mean,
the way I'm forgetting the doctor's name, but the doctor and the way his character goes about those things, where he's just such a goof. He just is a goof, and he doesn't really understand the ship and the way it works until finally his understanding of physics, because he's an expert on physics, start to kind of interact, and they get out of the exploding sun as it turns into a black hole because of his understanding of the physics and the captain, and they connect. And yeah, it's a wild ride with the characters because there's so many combinations of them that work out so well. Even with Martin Short's robot guy that I don't remember
Okay.
his name.
Ben,
Ben. Yeah.
Ben, yeah.
The worst part of the movie. As much as
no,
I love
Oh,
Ed,
it's not that bad.
okay,
no.
I I don't like. Okay, Ben is a little obnoxious. You have to admit it
I'm
gets a
not
little obnoxious.
I
I'm
I'm
not
not
hating on Martin
Weirdo.
Short
with
or
you, but
Ben.
I think the fact that it's Martin Short makes it better to me because I think Martin Short's really funny.
It is, yeah,
Reed, you sent me that reel from Arrested Development.
yeah.
Wolfie,
That's
nuts,
nuts.
abridgment,
Nuts.
Abridgment. He puts his
the
hand right in the
abridgment.
Oh, it's
Let's
Jason
get right
Bateman's
down
nuts.
to the
Yeah. I'll say, yeah, something about that. I'm glad we have a moment where there's controversy towards Martin Short as Ben in that movie. I'm curious in the book who the heck that robot character is supposed
Yeah,
to be. Who would that
yeah.
be if it's
Literally,
anybody?
literally Ben.
I'm curious if they just thought like
His
this
name's Ben.
movie's getting
It's
too.
literally Ben. It's literally Ben.
All the characters have the same names pretty much.
Is
The
there a
same.
character Ben in the book?
In Treasure
Yes, it's
Island,
Ben on Treasure Island.
like the
It's the
first
same.
mate, Ben.
Yeah, it's the same character.
Oh, cool. I just no,
It's
see,
the
that's what
same name.
I
Yeah.
just was curious, like, what is his actual role supposed to be? But I guess yeah, it's actually is. So sure. I love this movie. It's cool because it does so much work to create its own world, and yet, yeah, all the characters are just the same people.
It's the
Yeah, this movie reminded me of The Fifth Element and Alita Battle Angel
Oof.
Are you
as
serious?
movies that
Unique pulls.
look completely like their own thing. Like I've never seen
Mm.
another movie that looked quite like Treasure Planet. And sometimes it's not always great. Like there's some shots where I'm like, I'm not sure about that. But then there's sometimes where it looks awesome.
Yeah.
Like it really works. So I did appreciate the look and
I,
the world built in this movie.
Mhm.
I gotta say that when the first scene when it opens up from the fade in from the bed into him on like the skateboard thing is so fucking cool and
Yeah.
so awesome of a transition every time.
Um,
But
yeah,
This movie's pretty unique. Oh, go ahead, Reed. Sorry.
oh, I was gonna say further
Oh, what is it,
oh.
Cole?
Oh, I didn't want to step on anyone. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're fine.
No,
What do you want?
Cole, what word did you use?
Unique?
I said, go ahead.
Yeah,
What did I say?
unique. That is right,
I didn't
Jack.
say unique.
You did say unique.
Oh, I did say unique. Yeah, it is unique. See, that's a good letterbox review.
Yeah, Jack, hater.
yeah, I'm looking at the 3.5 stars though. That's what I'm hating on,
Are
you
you
son
guys
of a
hating
bitch.
on each other's letterbox review of this movie right now?
Yeah,
Is that what's
I'm
happening?
unaware of
I
what's
don't know.
going
It's yeah,
on.
it's some
Jack was
drama.
hey. I'm like, it's a unique movie, and Jack's like, it's a unique movie. That's all you got to say about it.
Don't you read don't you read the comments?
We're only going to talk about it for an hour tomorrow, so I'm not going to read a fucking paragraph.
Motherfucker. Are you
Jack,
gonna
did you
say
even write anything though? That's the
Oh,
question.
I haven't read anything yet. I have to still, but
Imagine the author has you read it as like a, what do you think? Oh, it's unique.
It's unique.
You put that out there, see how people in the 1900s like it. Anyway,
Uh,
no, to further the animation conversation here, there's shots like that. Yeah, that transition. I like when they're doing the Captain Flynn taking on the one ship, and then like Jim's just a big toddler head in the background, like watching it go down right at the start because he's reading his book is awesome. I love the shot of the crescent moon that turns into
Yeah.
the big space
Yeah.
station.
That was a good transition.
Yeah,
Yep.
when I first watched this movie, to me, like my mind was like, yes,
Yep.
yes, that's cool.
That
Things,
was when I was watching it the other night too. That was the moment where I was like, "Oh, I remember this." You know what I mean? I had completely forgotten about the crescent moon and like the planet. I thought that was really cool as a kid. So it was really fun to kind of have like that kind of bridge kind of come together again from when I was a kid to like watching it now. I'm like, that's what I remember about this was some of those really cool visuals. And I was doing a little bit of reading about it too. This movie cost like $140 million to make. It was
wow.
a huge budget, but then like it's also what's cool about it is because like did you notice like the visuals where it's a combination of like kind of the 2D animation over like a 3D
Yeah.
landscape?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's kind of like the technology that they were playing with. So you could literally see like even if 2D was kind of coming out of like, you know, at, it's over pretty much by this point, the 2D animation Disney movies. Like you could just see the bridge between like what the future was going to be, which was like all these 3D films that are coming. But like I think that's pretty cool to put the 2D characters over a 3D kind of landscape, and then it creates a lot of dynamic shots. Like whenever there's a chase scene, you guys notice like when they're running through like remember when the big spider guys like chasing Jim and
oh
Morph
yeah,
around?
uh,
That's kind of cool because of the way they're able to move the camera around the space and everything.
I
Kind
think
of makes
that.
it like really. Oh, go ahead.
No, I
Sorry.
was gonna say I think that movement that you're talking about, like for me, the Spider Guy, I think because of how they're able to make it look with speed wise, makes him look that
Hmm.
much scarier. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just cool, like how they place the characters, the 2D models, into like a 3D world, and
Mhm.
the their ability to like move the camera around because when you're on like in those older movies, right? You're watching like Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, like the animation is happening on screen, but they're over like a flat background, right? So
Mhm.
like you're only able to work with how many angles unless you have to fucking draw it and all that shit. So I don't know. It's kind of sad that they don't make it like that anymore because you think, what if they did it today? Like made another 2D animated like $140 million movie that Disney produced. Like that's probably that how they would do it, but it'd probably be a lot better.
I think like the only exception we have to there that there's not really 2D animations. I think the only things we get are the Spider-Man movies, and those are even like a special kind of thing because
Right.
there's so much
And
of work going into it.
it's probably worth mentioning that Disney is on an ice cold streak in terms of the movies they've been
Mm-hmm.
putting out recently. And you look at the Spider-Verse movies and you look at that Puss in Boots movie, or even the fucking Ninja Turtle movie that came out like last year or the year before. Like those movies are getting better buzz and making more money than some of the shit Disney's trying to throw at us recently. So they could stand to try to do something like this again. And
Like take a risk.
yeah, yeah.
What are what are some of the recent ones they've brought out that aren't that good?
Like Moana 2 comes to mind immediately. I
Was
think the
it not
last
good?
I didn't even see it. It got
No.
nothing but bad
Oh,
reviews.
you have a tattoo even.
Mm-hmm.
I do, and didn't even see the second one. And then I think the last Pixar movie was Elemental, which was mid as hell. And I don't know, like I can't even remember because I don't see him anymore. I don't seek out Disney stuff anymore. In fact, when this movie was like suggested as a thing for us to watch, I wasn't like, oh damn, but I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, and I did.
So,
But
fun
yeah,
fact, Noah. Fun fact. Do you know the two guys who directed this movie?
yeah, I
Also
did see
directed
that.
Moana?
Yeah,
Yes.
yep,
That's
They
funny.
also they have a lot of good movies under their belt.
they
They
do.
do, yeah.
They
What's
have
his
Little
name?
Mermaid as
Little
well,
Mermaid.
Clarence.
Yep,
and Aladdin. So
yep,
they're a part of like that whole Disney renaissance of like the '90s and like
yep.
so. Definitely makes sense that they get to pick up these big movies. But this movie, yeah, does not. It feels like it's totally like forgotten. Like it's never in the
It
conversation of
it
like
didn't make
Moana or like um Little Mermaid and like anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We get
it's
sorry, Zach.
its worldwide like gross was less than its budget. Like it was a total flop.
It was a major flop. Yeah.
It's wild.
My mom had never heard of it. And like, she's like relatively engaged with movies. So yeah.
Right now I'm looking at the voice acting people of this because I didn't even other than Martin Short. Do you guys know who Jim Hawkins is? No, I bet
Yeah,
you.
it's
Yeah,
Joseph
Yeah.
Gordon-Levitt.
yeah. I think I knew that at one
Noah's
point.
boy.
Halloween
Yeah,
H2Os.
yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I think I've
Of
talked
Halloween fame.
about it
Yep.
on here the one time fucking Maddie dropped a Halloween's such and such person, whoever it was. And it was like, I was like, are you cheating on me with Noah? Like, why
Yeah.
would
It
you
was,
say
who was
that?
it? Because that was a sick pull. I forget who that was
Such
though.
a random one too. They
Yeah.
got oh, I missed one on here. They got Lori Metcalf, everyone's favorite. Lori Metcalf, we
We
all
should
recall.
mention Jim's mom.
Yeah. What about her? You have the hots for her by the look on your face. Am I
Yeah,
right?
that is what I was implying. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can
Yeah.
understand that actually. I gotta say, she's a wise woman, you
Yep.
know, the
Yep.
intellect of a saint and the the face of a sinner. And
Couldn't have said it better myself.
no, I really do love the character of the mom.
Yeah.
I gotta say, when I pulled this up to watch it, part of the reason why I hadn't watched it since the last time I watched it was because in my mind there was more death that happened. In my mind, the mom died in the fire. In my mind, John Silver died saving Jim. And
Huh.
so I didn't want to watch this movie for a long time because like I don't want to watch those characters die because I remembered I liked the mom and I knew I loved John Silver.
Yeah.
And so I hadn't. So when I was watching it and the mom made it through, I was like, oh my God. I think what happened was I think Billy Bones, the turtle man, right at the start with the map dies. I think that's where my brain went to.
Right.
Something I gotta say, first time I watched this movie, I know we're talking about that, but anyway, first time I watched this movie, you guys had brought up Atlantis. I had a double feature. Me and Maddie and her family had went on a trip. I think it was when we got back from Banff and Glacier was this trip. I think it was that one. We got back to the old McAllister residence and we watched a double feature of Treasure Planet and Atlantis.
Oh
It
wow.
was, yeah, never seen either of them in my life. So it was a blast. Anyway, yeah.
Wait, so you just watched Treasure Planet
I
for the first time?
No, that was like 2, 3 years ago, the first time I ever watched it.
Okay. Well, still.
Yeah. 2 years ago. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I watched Atlantis for the first time like 4 years ago, so it's also a banger.
Yeah. There's so many of the 2D animations that Disney put out, and even like whatever random, animators. I don't know what the Cartoon Network animation people call themselves if they were companies. Do you guys know what companies would
Which
have
ones?
well, that's my question. I don't know. Like that would be putting out 2D animations other than Disney.
At that time, I
Yeah.
know DreamWorks was putting out some because they did Sinbad, um
Spirits.
they did Spirit, they
Spirit.
did what's the Egyptian one? The Prince of Egypt, which is
Yeah.
that's a banger of a movie, I
Yeah.
will admit. El Dorado. They did El
Eldorado.
Dorado.
Nickelodeon would have had the Rugrats movie and SpongeBob movie.
Yeah.
Do you remember the old do you remember the old show about the family in the jungle and they were like really weird? Do you know what I'm talking about? You know exactly what I'm
Yeah,
talking
I know
about.
exactly what you're talking about. God dang it. And I never liked watching that show because I didn't like the animation, I remember as a kid. I
Family in the Jungle?
Yeah, it's
Nigel,
the
is
it's a
that the
side
dad's
Nigel.
name?
That's the dad's name is Nigel.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that have to do with Rugrats?
No,
No.
it's
Oh
Babies in
goodness.
the Jungle.
Animated show, dad's name, Nigel.
I might be picturing them right now.
The
I
Wild Thornberries.
Yeah. Yeah. I
yes.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, never liked that one. Yeah, I wish we had more to go through, and I'll bet there is a ton of the 2D animated movies that none of us have heard about, or we have heard about, but just between the five of us, none of us think about. And I would love to see it myself. There's a ton of Disney movies I've not seen. The old Disney princess ones, I've seen very few. I think I've seen Beauty and the Beast and Little Mermaid, and that's about it. I have never watched The Lion King. And at this point, I might
Is
never watch The Lion King.
is Beauty and the Beast really a Disney princess movie though?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
maybe the best one.
Is it
dude,
though? I thought she's
I
not.
love it.
I thought she's like a regular plain ass person though.
First time but she is a regular plain ass person, but
Yeah.
she becomes the princess though. She
Yeah.
becomes the
Okay.
queen.
Fair enough.
Like,
Um,
Cinderella, also just some random ass person.
Random ass.
I would be willing to say I've seen every single Disney princess movie. Like that is a genre I liked at a point in my life. So.
Um, yeah, yeah. I like Belle so much from Beauty and the Beast. Like I think I first watched Beauty and the Beast when I was like maybe 17 or so. She's just this like she's a good person, you know.
Yeah,
She's good. Anyway,
I'm with you. I love that movie.
I try to model myself after Belle from Beauty and the Beast,
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, back to
Yeah.
Treasure
Yeah.
Planet. Something for you listeners out there. This is going to be a recurring topic from could be forever from now till we watch another Treasure Island theme movie. But someday we'll watch another Treasure Island theme movie. I don't know what it'll be. Anyway, we're going to do our best to try to compare and figure out what's the best Treasure Island adaptation. Because Jack had an awesome idea to do that, but we didn't have enough time this week to watch two back to back. So, anyway, just so you guys know, that's coming down the pipe. If you got any suggestions, toss us a holler and let us know. Get under our collar. Tell us what you think would be a good movie for us to watch. But anyway, we got more to talk about anyway.
So for me, I didn't know this story whatsoever. So this is like,
This is
original for
fresh.
me.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, thinking back on that, like I mean, this is obviously an adaptation, but I mean, does that kind of take it down a notch for any of you guys, knowing that they literally just took one
No,
story and just rebranded it, or is it so different and original that it's really its own thing and it can't be, you know,
I'll say
disregarded like that?
I'll say just about. I mean, I think what do they say? There's like 12 stories a person can tell. Like at the base of all writing, there's a very finite amount of things you can express and tell. So I think it all, to me, adaptation is just that same thing. Now it gets a little bit easier to adapt when you're taking a story with people named Billy Bones, John Silver, Jim Hawkins, and you're just reusing the names in the same spots. But this is a kind of reworking and retelling, I think, that goes so far above and beyond to create their own world and their own situations. And from what I read in the book so far, things are very different from the book. The way the characters, live and die and breathe and act is different. So I think this is a good adaptation.
Does the fast food restaurant Long John Silver's come from this character?
I would bet. I would bet,
I
is
yeah.
that
There's
place still
something I
around?
didn't know. Yeah.
Does that still exist? I feel like if someone asked me, "Hey, do you want to go eat some Long John Silver's?" I would eat the first roadkill I saw on the side of the road before I went there.
I
I
think
don't
it's
know why.
very like seafood based, so I never went there, but yeah,
Why is it because you might be allergic to seafood?
right. Yeah.
I'll say that yes, it is named after the John Silver character, and I will also say that, Jack, I'm with you. I will never eat at a fucking restaurant named after a pirate from an old novel. Like, I'm not eating there. I don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Trying to think, you guys wouldn't want to go eat at Old Huckleberries, would you?
Probably
No,
not.
no, you wouldn't. You wouldn't feel comfortable eating at
Yeah.
Old Huckleberries. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah. So, what do you guys feel about the adaptation conversation?
I mean, it's a what 130-year-old book story.
Oh,
Like, who cares?
oh,
Like, it's old. It's
Right.
old. It's
yeah.
like okay. It's like I mean, you can use two very good examples of it. Well, one is Nosferatu, the movie you guys all just saw. There's an adaptation. Did you hate this one any less because it was an adaptation of 1920s Nosferatu German film? Probably not.
But was
Which King Kong do you like the most? Because there's bits and pieces of you like. Are you gonna
I
say the Peter
genuinely, dude,
Jackson one?
we'll do another hour if you ask me that fucking question about King Kong. What's my favorite King Kong? Dude, I'm ready to fucking go.
Jack,
Which one? Which
don't
one?
ask him
Which?
that.
Wait, I'm asking him. I need to know this.
Dude, King Kong
Is
to
it
me is your Godzilla. Just
is
you
it
and I
is
are
it the
Kong versus Godzilla.
is it the Peter Jackson one?
It is the Peter Jackson
Okay.
one. It's
I thought
such an
I was gonna
amazing
say
story.
I was
Uh,
gonna say I hope it wasn't the one from the 70s. Is it the 60s or 70s where King
With
Kong gets
Jeff
mowed
Bridges,
down?
right?
Yeah, he gets mowed down by helicopters from the Vietnam era. But that that's a fucking movie.
Yeah.
Oh, but the
Anyway,
same thing with Godzilla. Like, how many Godzilla movies have been made that are literally just the same movie? It's just Godzilla. You don't like it any less. It's just all you can do.
I think adaptation for stories becomes like it becomes a tool when those stories become so outdated and are told in such a way they're non-accessible, like the old Nosferatu movie. Do you guys really want to watch a Nosferatu movie in which the
no.
Nosferatu is the same one from SpongeBob?
Right. No, I
Yeah,
don't.
you wouldn't
Yeah.
want that. Do you guys
And
really want to crack open the Treasure Island book today? No, you
right.
don't. Noah?
No, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with making a movie on previously established stuff. It's just there, in today's goddamn economy and society, basically every movie you go to see is based on some other shit. So we've just been beaten to death with remakes and adaptations of shit we didn't need adapted. But really, no, there's nothing inherently wrong with it. And in this case, and in the case of Nosferatu, like I agree. Like it only I didn't even consider it at all. Like, oh, this is a little worse or unoriginal. It didn't enter my mind at all. So
I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's kind of weird that it's like the same characters and everything from the book, but I'm not putting that, I'm not downgrading it at all, but I just think it's a little weird. But I think it's awesome how they modernized it and, made it literally space pirates, and I mean, just made it so original and more creative and world building, and and then making it a nice, wholesome, true original Disney story too, where you
Yeah.
have those character connections and heartwarming feeling, to the viewers. I mean, that's what you go to see it for.
Um,
That's
something.
actually the question. Oh, sorry.
No, no, you go, dude.
I was just going to talk about like, because it's an adaptation of Treasure Island, right? But then they just changed the setting, right, to just be in space. Now, like, why would like, is that inherently interesting? Or why wouldn't they just have adapted Treasure Island and made it into a 2D animated film? This exactly like it, have the setting be from the story, the 1800s or whatever, on a pirate journey and
It
all that.
probably
Like,
would have done better in the box office.
do you think so? Or do you think, like, I mean,
It couldn't
seriously,
have
like,
done much worse,
but then, like,
right?
I
but then, like,
disagree with that.
here's the thing though, like, the setting worth it? Like, it's just literally just taking the setting and making it in space and futuristic, but then it still has like all the pirate ships and all the pirate references and illusions and all that kind of stuff. So it's just like, why wasn't it just a pirate movie? Is that unique or is that just kind of like
Well,
fine?
I'm gonna
Like, I don't
I'm
know.
gonna
I'm just
answer
posing it out there.
I'm gonna answer your question with a question. Is it do you find it more interesting because it is pirates in space? Because literally this movie was a one of those ideas where fucking John Musker and Ron Clements walked into the producer's office and went, "We want to do Treasure Planet. We want to do Treasure Island in space." And the guys went, "Yeah, okay."
Holy
Like
shit.
like it
Yeah,
like
that's
I
Bro,
don't
fair.
you're
know.
blowing
I
our
don't know. I don't know.
minds.
I don't know how
Could
else I don't know.
was this the vehicle for like to test out like all the new 3D animation and all that? And is that why they set it in space? Do you think, or is it just like that was the idea and like that's what they
Well,
just ran with it?
why did they set Friday the 13th in space? I don't fucking it makes it more interesting.
Because that's when you run out of ideas, you put
It's-
them in
You
space.
don't start with space. Nobody
You
starts
don't
with space.
start. James Bond ends up in space like 15 movies into the series.
I
So like
think
you do it when you run out of ideas.
I think that is a great question. Why are we doing Space Treasure Island? I am very curious.
yeah,
And
I
Like
think that's a good thought too.
I don't know
like
I,
why, but I'm glad they did. I don't
Right, it
think it
is
would
yeah,
have been any better any other way. But would they have gotten more mainstream audiences to the theater if it was just fucking Disney Treasure Island
no. I think Disney killed this movie on purpose. I firmly
okay.
believe that. Why
well,
would they release it against Harry Potter?
on Thanksgiving
Mhm.
weekend, holiday weekend?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just gonna go back and say, like, yes, it is to adapt Treasure Island and to do it again, probably because it's such a famous story. Making it set in space and take running with that setting was probably the best decision for like the storytelling. I'm just gonna say that's probably a more unique idea. Now,
like
like, would it have been cool to like get like just the original story adapted? Sure, but I don't know. Then you wouldn't have like people taking a risk and telling a unique story set in a weird place.
Cole, I'm curious, with your being an English teacher, have you ever had a student hand in like a short story at all? I don't know if that's something you ever signed, but hand in a story where like they just have an idea like that, where it's such a peculiar, like you're not upset, you're just like, why would you think of that? That's such an interesting brainwave for this kid.
That, yeah, I think I remember doing short story units like last year with just like some creative writing, and then creative writing this year too. Yeah, it's just kind of like a unique idea, and it's probably just because it comes from a simple place, and you just run with it.
Hmm.
So yeah, but
I
like
can
that was part of my reason why like I bring it up is because when I was watching it, when I first started to watch it last night, I got it. We had to put it on, and I was watching it with Lily, and I was like really, really excited because I hadn't seen it since I was a kid. And when it first started, I started getting those questions in my brain, like, okay, why is it set in space? It's just Treasure Island. It's the same people. And I actually was really disappointed when the film started. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know it's coming up. I was not engaged by the movie until about 5 minutes in when they started to develop the Jim Hawkins and the John Silver's relationship. That's when I found like, okay, this is kind of what I was waiting for with the movie, was like this level of engagement and characterization and interest. And then the montage with the Goo Goo Dolls, brilliant.
Yeah.
Just amazing filmmaking. Like, so that, yeah, like that's where the heart came from. And I was like waiting for it because I didn't necessarily like the characters at the beginning, and I wouldn't even say that I like most of them. I only really like John Silver and like the two-third parts of, I guess, the Hawkins character too, or Dawkins, or whatever. So
I
it
think
took a
the
while, but at the beginning I was pretty like disappointed. I was like, I'm not clicking with it like I thought I would, which was
yeah
so
Yeah.
maybe that's why it didn't do well either. Maybe it's just because I don't know.
It might not have liked it genuinely.
yeah the
Mm-hmm.
beginning is kind of carried by Doc Doctor, kind of Doctor Goofball, just being a little dumb
Yeah,
shit,
a real goof.
I mean, his comedy is pretty funny. Usually I don't like those that kind of just goof character that's just doing dumb shit to get
Yeah.
cheap laughs. But I think that his lines are actually quite funny a lot of the times, and
Well,
I
he's
liked
not
it
a
more than I
goof.
thought of.
He's not a goof character. He's just the archetype of the super smart person who has no life skills, and that's what's funny.
And I'll say something that I think makes it all work really well for him in the end. We can look back at him and enjoy those kinds of jokes with him. Is that by the end of the movie, like he's got the life skills, like he's figured out what he's doing. So he starts off, he's got something to learn. Is I think why we can look back and be like, this was enjoyable. There's a lot of movies that just write a fucking a moron, and then there's no payoff. By the end of the movie,
Hmm.
he's just as dumb as when he began, and it's like you never should have made it out of the gate.
Well, he's going on the adventure he's always dreamed of too.
Hmm.
And then obviously he finds Captain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's one true love. I love that right from the get-go, Jim wants to go on this adventure and the mom says no, and the doc says, well, obviously he can't go, not without an adult, so I'm going too. And he writes himself into it. I love that. I was gonna say, not to keep pulling up, the book, because that's not what it's about necessarily so much, but I think, they write out this introduction. The first section of the book, there's like 6 sections, is kind of focused on that tavern and Jim and his mother and that character Billy Bones who we see for like 2 seconds because he shows up and dies and gives the map. Billy Bones is in it for a long while, I mean a good couple chapters he's in it, and he is this old pirate who's really just the definition of an alcoholic. And I think it's the one time I've ever seen a representation of a pirate with a drinking problem. Because you see a million pirates and all they do is they sail and they drink and that's it and it works out. This is the one time where it's like this guy is how he's alive, I don't know. And like that's his cause of death, essentially in the end. He has a stroke. He's having multiple strokes because he can't stop drinking rum. And and he's really interesting to me. I really thought that was I don't see that anywhere else. So I think that's why you can't really show an alcoholic pirate dying of a stroke in a kid's movie. So maybe they didn't really know how to put him in there or make it work, and they tried their best, and they
So
didn't.
that was the Billy Bones character in the book you're talking about?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Who's that turtle who crashes the ship and
Yeah. I
dies?
think that was I was laughing out loud how convenient it was, like when they
It's
crash.
very
Just
Like,
crashes
much.
Well,
right
it's kind of
there.
it's. I mean, it's yeah. I think the reason they skip it is because they want to get to the actual heart of the movie, which is the relationship between Jim and
And the
John
Goo Goo
Silver
Dolls.
and
and the
I'm
Goo Goo
all for
Dolls. Let's be
that.
realistic. It's the Goo Goo Dolls. Actually, I like to think that the Goo Goo Dolls, they're like, hey, we want you to make this song for this movie, and then Trent Reznor or what's his name? Who's the
Trent
lead singer of the
Reznor.
Goo Goo Dolls? Uh,
John Resnick.
John Resnick was
Yeah.
like, oh, is this a movie about Treasure Planet in space, Treasure Island in space, and then they're like, no, but it is now. Like,
They're solely responsible for the success of this movie.
They had to
Like,
start from scratch when he
they had to
showed
start
up.
from scratch.
I'm not lying. That's the best it's the best scenes in the movie. I'm not even kidding. It's
Yeah.
that middle chunk is when I was like most engaged, and then it kind of carried me to the end too. So like by the end, I was like, all right, I forgive it for like the beginning, the disappointment, but
When
it
it
wasn't.
was when it was all like the hardcore action stuff of them fighting and the ships fighting and stuff like that, like that was yeah, like I was kind of just like kind of numbing that over and just
Yeah, I was pretty
you know
tuned
what I
out
mean?
too
It's like yeah, it
because the
is it's
characters are more interesting.
they
Yeah.
and that's awesome. How rare is that? I mean,
Yep.
especially today.
Oh
I
God,
mean,
yeah.
I mean,
so cool. It was so cool to watch and know that that happened, over 20 years ago in a Disney movie.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
but do
mean,
you think like
uh,
if you showed that movie today to like a kid, would they like it? Do you think? Like you were just
no,
like, or you think this movie would not fit with anyone anymore? Like, is there no place for this movie except for
I I
the
think it would have fans still. I do.
Yeah.
I think it would. It's just it has to reach a, specific age, I think, for
I
them
mean,
to really enjoy.
I'm gonna say
somewhere
no.
there is some kid that clicked on this movie on Disney Plus and it's their favorite movie. Like
For
that's
sure.
yeah.
I don't know. I think this is. I think okay. I take that back. Yes, I think kids would like it these days, but this is also from an era when like kids movies are also like they don't treat kids. They
Like
treated kids that
like a
like
child, a baby every 5 seconds. Yeah.
yeah. It was kind of like oh no, these kids are smart enough to maybe have a little bit more critical thinking skills
Yeah.
about something. So compared to that today, where you have 5 second TikTok and immediate
Spoon fed.
bullshit, spoon fed.
The spoon
Yep.
feeding thing, it drives me wild. It irks me. It makes me very, very angry and mad, and I feel like I'm a jerk for saying anything or fighting it. It drives me wild. And I don't, I don't mean to helicopter parent, not that I have a kid, not that I will have a kid, but if I ever do have a kid, I'm gonna like be a connoisseur of what they're watching. Because like I'm like my kid when they're 5, they're gonna be watching Lord of the Rings because I was 5 and I was watching that shit. So they're on it. I don't know how they're
There's an
screwing.
animated version now.
Yeah, I was 4 when I saw that one too. Anyway,
Which
um,
one? I think he's talking about the newest one,
I'm
Reed,
talking
not
about the
the
newest one.
OG Hobbit.
oh, the War of the Rohirrim one.
Yeah, not the
Uh,
OG Hobbit.
the Ralph Bakshi
yeah,
Yeah, the
ones.
Rob Bakshi one.
War of the Rohirrim it was pretty good. It's sticking about the same as when I watched it. That's good. I wouldn't say it was a 5-star movie, but it was pretty good for me. I wanted to say more about Treasure Island, Treasure Planet. The only other adaptation I'm got my head in really is there's a show on Netflix. I don't even it's not a Netflix show. I think it's a Stars original called Black Sails.
Mhm.
I started watching it because it was a pirate movie or a pirate show. And anyway, there's some good actors. Toby Stevens, I think, is the name of the guy who plays Captain Flynn. And it's a pretty good show. I just kind of would throw it on some mornings. Like it's fine. It's not the greatest thing about. But anyway, I bring it up because it's about Captain Flynn more than, the Treasure Island story. So much of Jim Hawkins is going after this. It's just about who is this dastardly Captain Flynn and his crew. And you see Billy Bones and you see the first mate Ben, whose last name I don't remember,
Damn.
and you see and you get to see the cook, John Silver of the crew. And the thing I think why this show doesn't strike for me so well is because the John Silver in this show is such he's a snake. He's a real jerk. What ain't you?
Isn't there also like, didn't that come out in the Stars era of TV shows that was like
Yeah,
an
yeah.
Within
idea?
2000,
It was like trying to rope off of Game of Thrones,
It
so
was
it was
like a
like a really
2017. Yeah,
it was
it's
like
a
a really
dramatic.
male oriented show with a lot of
gratuitous
nudity and a lot of sex.
A lot
Yeah,
of
I know
nudity and
exactly.
sex, a
Like
lot of creative sex.
what's the Gladiator one? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Spartacus.
Yeah.
Spartacus. There we go.
Isn't
That one
there
has
like a
even
Rome
more.
show? Like
Yeah,
it's
that's the
called
one.
Rome.
Oh, no, that
Rome is
also
different.
existed.
Rome is an epic. Rome. Yeah.
Rome's a city.
I've seen Black Sails, Reed, and I didn't know it was a Treasure Island story until
It
now.
is, but it's
But
not.
I
It's
saw the
not
characters.
technically.
I'm like,
It's
oh,
That's
fuck.
awesome.
Yeah,
That is right.
technically, it's not even Treasure Island, really, because
No,
it's part of that, but it's not the Treasure Island story.
No.
no.
It's about Captain Flint's put the gold where it's going to be.
It's kind of badass some points, but it's yeah.
No, I like it a lot, but I think the reason why it sticks me in the wrong spot is because John Silver is kind of like a conniving motherfucker. Like
He's a weasel.
yeah, he is. He's a real weasel, and that's what he is in Treasure Planet. He is a weasel, but you only see him from this Jim perspective where he's this mentor, you know. But then we also get to see this payoff where as he figures out by himself that I'm not a weasel. I care about Jim. I have something I care about. And that's a beautiful thing. In this show, though, John Silver doesn't have
He
that.
doesn't have it.
There's not one thing he cares about other than gold, which is it's a cool thing, but it's
But
just
it's
hard for
always
me.
just like the same shit. He's always fucking somebody over. They're trying to
So
fuck each other over, and there's nothing. It's just the same shit. It's just bland,
yeah.
the whole show.
Can I recommend a pirate show, Reed? That
Yeah,
might cleanse your palate.
please do. I love pirates.
It's called Our Flag Means Death,
Ooh,
starring Taika Waititi and the other Aussie dude from the white guy. I can't remember his
I
name.
forget his name.
You're
Did
exactly
you
what I'm talking about.
did you watch it all? Is it good?
I haven't seen the newest season. I like the first season.
There's 2 seasons. Wow.
But then they
Yeah.
canceled it after two because
Yeah, they
just
canceled after
ratings
two.
were
They always do.
they didn't have the views. It is
Yeah.
a very interesting story.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that one. I had something else to say on the matter. Oh, I wanted to say one last thing about Treasure Island, Treasure Planet while we're on this point of conversation. For the longest time, I avoided the story. I grew up loving pirates. I avoided the story because I knew from a young age it's not necessary. It's about this Jim Hawkins fella. I never wanted to read about Jim Hawkins. I only ever wanted to read about Captain Flynn. So now in my older age, I don't know why. I kind of like this Jim Hawkins side of the story. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's because there's in our world, we don't have the adventures of pirates. We don't have real adventures in our world. And the story is about Jim Hawkins kind of piggybacking off of this old way of living, trying to get his little piece of adventure in life. And I feel like in the modern day world, you don't get a chance at that unless you move to Boise, Idaho, and you get to go mountain biking whenever the hell you want.
You guys, this came out in 2002. It was nominated for Best Animated Feature Film at the 2003 Oscars. Do you guys know
It
who
lost the spirit
won?
of the way.
It
No,
lost.
Spirited Away is 01, isn't it?
What do you guys think?
2002
Spirit,
it
it
lost
lost the
to?
spirit. I bet it lost the spirited away.
It lost the spirit of the way.
Maybe that came to. Is it Spirited Away, Zach?
It is Spirited Away.
Yeah,
That came
don't
out in
fucking
2000,
don't
2001
don't fucking try
Japan.
me. Don't
And
fucking try me. It's fucking.
Isn't
It
Spirited
came out in
Away
the
from
US.
01 though?
It must have
It
come
came
out
out
in
in
the
the
US
yeah,
later.
it came out in the US later.
So also nominated Ice Age, Lilo and Stitch,
Wow.
and Spirit Stallion of the
Wow.
something.
Second Spirit mention in
Hey,
the
hey, you didn't say you said Ice Age, and then you didn't give a mandatory on my way from the fucking song on my way. I would like to. You gotta just jam out to that song.
boy.
2002
R-
coming out with like banger
r-
original soundtracks for the
rusted
animated series.
rusted root, baby.
Yeah, and then everybody unionized because there was so much business in 2D animation, and then then they bought up 3D animation so no one could union.
So
Do you think
we
they haven't
forgot about Ice
returned?
Age earlier.
Do you think they haven't returned to that? Like Disney hasn't returned to 2D animation because Japan has kind of thrown a monopoly on that thing.
But
Yeah,
I bet if Disney
It's
wanted
not
to
a
take
bad
a
thought.
risk, they would probably produce a 2D animated movie. But I don't know. Only time will tell. Noah, did you pick up on the Star Trek reference?
No, I didn't.
You didn't get it?
Oh, in the movie? Yeah,
Yeah.
of course I
Yeah,
did.
you got
I
it.
thought you
Damn
just
it.
made one right now.
Yeah.
Damn it, Jim.
did
Yeah,
you
of
like
course I
that,
did.
you guys? You did
Damn
like
it,
that?
Jim. astronomer, not a doctor or
And
whatever.
yeah, it kept
Yep.
going on. I loved that. That was very
Good.
It wasn't that good. Yep, that made me chuckle.
I was
Yep.
nervous. I was hoping you guys wouldn't find that corny, so I'm glad you liked that,
No,
Josh.
it was unexpected. So that's
That
why I
was
laughed
great.
so hard. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
awesome. I love
It's
when you throw in Star Trek.
it's
Yep.
very very fortunate that his name is James Hawkins. Like
Yep.
that, it all works very well.
Damn it,
Yep.
Jim. I like my favorite one of Bones' line. What is the moon shuttle conductor one? I'm a
Not a
doctor,
moon
not a
shuttle
moon shuttle
conductor. Yep.
conductor. That's my favorite one. Remember when they're on that one planet with like the Genghis Khan like clan and the woman's pregnant and then Bones just slaps her
He like
across the
slaps her in the
face?
face a few times. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's so great.
Yep.
Like she's like complaining and he just slaps her.
Yep.
Like it's horrible.
Yep. Yep. I do remember that vividly, actually.
Was there ever a Treasure Island episode of Star Trek?
No.
No.
I'm honestly they're surprised that there wasn't. I'm gonna be real with you. I feel like that would have been right up their alley.
There's
You know,
that one douchebag that shows up like once every season, and he's kind of a pirate, maybe. But
Yeah.
cool.
yeah,
Space Pirate?
yeah,
Space Pirate.
The Final Frontier is kind of like a treasure
yeah.
planet, the movie,
Yes.
but they go to find God, and that's
Yep.
stupid.
I really hope we get a big blockbuster pirate movie at some point here. I love pirates. I love them.
Let's go play some AC4.
Dude, I tried to.
Just
I don't like that game. I don't want to play
you don't
that.
like Black Flag?
Too
Oh,
slow.
Black
Whoa.
It's
Flag.
too slow now. It's
That's
way
like
too
the best
slow.
one.
It's
I
the best
know.
one.
It's not because Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood are. Number 4 is way too slow. I want a big pirate movie. What's the last pirate movie you guys have seen? Think about it. The last time a big pirate movie was released, you know it. What was it?
At World's End.
No. The Paddable
Captain
Pirates.
Phillips.
Oh yeah.
Captain
Captain
Phillips.
Phillips.
Paddable Pirates.
Yeah,
I am the
Uh,
captain now.
Yeah.
yeah.
Captain Phillips is actually
Yeah.
on the list.
That's probably
That is
That's
hilarious.
hilarious.
That's the
That's
last big
true.
pirate movie.
Um, well, time out, is it? Or did the actual
I think
Johnny Depp
Pirates of
Pirates
the Caribbean 5,
Yeah.
4 or 5 came out later.
Oh, I forgot they made that.
5 is so not fun. Oh,
Is that the Javier Bardem one?
yeah, he is fun to watch, but like that's easy
I
for
didn't
Javier
watch that
Bardem.
one.
Good, you don't need
I
to.
did
I
watch.
think
I
we're-
watched 4.
We're definitely due for like a good pirate movie. Like
Yeah,
that'd be great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait. Could you consider the Odyssey a pirate movie coming up? I don't know. Probably
No,
not.
no.
No,
Probably
it's
not.
not.
We'll
But
be sailing, but
Are you
not
stoked for
piracy.
that though?
You're not sailors if you're pirates.
I'm not gonna think about it till it comes out.
Probably good. Probably good.
Why? Because you get too hyped.
No, because I don't get hyped for movies anymore. There's a movie that killed all that feeling inside of getting
Last
hyped for a
Jedi?
movie. Yes. So
But this is Nolan.
This is Nolan, not Star Wars.
This is not fucking Ryan Johnson.
I'm not kidding. I think the last time that I was actually excited to go sit in the movie theater and watch a movie was Barbenheimer. Like, and not because I was excited to watch Barbie and Oppenheimer, but simply because we were gonna sit in a movie theater for like 6 hours and watch Barbie and then watch Oppenheimer.
That would have been so cool. I wish I partook in that
You
day
could have
for
if you
sure.
lived here, Zach.
yeah,
You know that.
yeah.
You
Come
could've.
join us. Come off your mountain. Come join us down here with us normies. This guy just gets silent when you question him on that shit. He just goes quiet. Look at him.
He goes
Okay.
on his phone. He
He
goes on his
doesn't want to
Question
talk
what?
about it. Nothing.
Hey, let's talk about a job.
Let's talk about a job.
phone. You didn't get what are you doing on your phone.
Good impression, Cole.
Oh my gosh. I'm getting info. I'm getting facts.
Yeah. He's trying to get caught up. He's figuring out who won the 2002 Best Animated Picture.
He's looking up the black sail sex scenes. That's really
That's for
that's
later.
Yeah, like they get creative in those scenes. Like they got a lot going on in them. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Noah, I was questioning if I was gonna like this movie at first. And then Reed said it's a top 100 movie of all time. And
To me, I,
I looked at the cast and looked at some IMDb reviews, and I was like, okay, this is definitely worth watching. And after watching, I'm very glad that we watched it and got to talk about it. It was awesome.
next week, for all ye faithful, we'll be discussing Nosferatu, which is in fact the first movie in the Nosferatu franchise. I know what you're thinking. Why not call it Nosferatu 1? Because that's not at all what this is. It's a vampire movie. Anyway, yeah. But we'll be discussing that next week while it's hip.
Are you guys big vampire fans?
Um, yes. Have you ever heard of a film franchise called
Shut up.
Twilight?
Shut up.
uh,
Maddie actually got me going on something the other day. They had it on at work. The old people were watching it. The workers put it on, and I sent her a message. And she said Twilight's actually the third movie in the franchise, and she had me going for a minute. Yeah, she was messing with me. I was like, no, what? No way. Like I had no idea Jacob was in the first movie. I had nary a clue, and I've
yeah,
seen that
he
one.
has his long hair. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah. Yeah, I'm a big vampire guy, fan myself. I like the Van Helsing movie. I think we talked about that on here
We did
before.
talk about that.
Yeah.
Reed, there is a psych episode, a vampire psych episode, at least one very prominent
Yes.
one.
This
And
episode sucks, I believe, is the name.
yes, that
Yeah,
is
it
correct.
starts off with you get Marlowe is the female character
Yes,
who
yes, that's how we
plays
meet Marlowe.
yeah, the woman that plays her, she's in something. She's not in Buffy, is she?
I'm not
She's
sure.
in a show to do with vampires. I'm gonna Google this, but while I Google it, I will say this episode sucks, begins with a song from the Smashing Pumpkins. What is it? Bullet with the Butterfly
The
Wings?
world is a
There's a
vamp.
Yeah.
vampire.
Yeah. And it's this
Ba-da-da-da-da.
first person shot like of the camera walking through this bar and it's this person with that music playing heavy pushing through and knocking people aside. And then it cuts to like a wide shot and it's the cop, Carlton Lassiter.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vampire imagery also comes up very frequently in the lyrics of My Chemical Romance, one of the greatest bands of all time. So figured I'd point that out too.
What about True Blood? Anybody ever watch True Blood?
Never
One of
seen
the one of
that.
No.
the first
See,
HBO like I don't know, super popular drama
Yeah,
shows.
I think my
Like
mom
see,
watched it.
like this is one of like my sister had those on like DVD sets and like it was a
Yep.
big deal
It was.
when
I remember
when that
that
came
too,
out.
for sure.
I don't know. I'm trying to say yes, but at the same time, anytime I play Oblivion or Skyrim and I get bit by a vampire and I get the vampire disease, I go, God fucking damn it. And I have to
Yeah.
like reset it or
You
get
can
rid of
get
that
cured.
shit.
You can get cured, Jack.
Yeah.
Not in
It,
Oblivion though, you can't if it hits a
Yes, you can
certain
cure
point.
right.
vampirism,
It's a
dude.
bitch though. It's such a bitch.
I'm excited to
There's
see
a
where
whole. They
the
give you a quest. They literally give you a quest to cure it.
I'm excited to see where the career for the voice actor of the Emperor in Oblivion takes him. That guy could do anything. Anyway, this character Marlowe from Psych is Christy Swanson. She played Buffy in the movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And shit, I actually had a follow up there.
Is that
Oh,
before the show?
I believe so, 1992.
Yeah.
Yeah, my one of my favorite vampires I've seen is in the show Supernatural. Sterling K. Brown plays a vampire. I believe it's him if I'm remembering right. And I always liked him. He's kind of like an anti-hero. He's not in it for too long, but yeah, so I like it. I don't know
You
what
know,
it is.
I just want to comment. I'm glad that we decided to talk about one movie every week because we just went from Treasure Planet to vampires really quickly, and that's honestly impressive. Like,
Yeah. Well, that's what we could be doing. So yeah.
We're
We're-
just getting a warm up for next week
Mhm.
because it's going to be pretty deep.
the vampires.
those fangs.
Well, I mean, I think we're good to call it. We've been going for quite a while. I lost track of time, and I we're definitely past wherever we needed and should have been. So yeah, for those of you listening, go ahead, watch Treasure Planet if you haven't seen it, so you know what we're talking about. And if you're coming back next week with if you're not, I'm gonna hunt you down and string you up by your britches. We're gonna be watching or talking about Nosferatu. So give that a good gander. Head on out to your local movie theater. Check out Lily Rose Depp and
Nicholas
Will
Holt.
The guy who
William.
played the Beast.
Yeah. All right. Well, bye everybody. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Bye. I am a question to the world, not an answer to be heard. Oh, the moment that is held in your arms.